I call to order the Township of Aleppo workshop meeting of November 10, 2025 at 7 p.m. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
President Jones?
Present.
Vice President Williams?
Present.
Commissioner Michael?
Present.
Solicitor Jewett?
Present.
And we have a guest. Would you introduce yourself?
Sure. Alex Forgetti, also an attorney with Solicitor Jewett.
Thank you. This meeting, as all others, will be recorded and uploaded to YouTube. Do I hear a motion to approve the October 20th legislative meeting
moved.
minutes? Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Manager Patterson, would you give an update on the township secretary position?
I almost have an update, but I don't yet. I'm still in the final rounds of interviews, and I think we're close to making a selection, but I don't have any announcements to make yet.
But you have quality candidates?
I have had, a lot of, or several very nice interviews, yes.
And you think you will select from people that you currently interviewed?
I hope so,
Good.
yes.
The 2026 budget presentation.
And we're here. Okay, so, this is the formal draft of the budget for next year. So, this will be adopted via ordinance at the December 22nd legislative meeting, so please attend. So what you're looking at is, the draft of the budget. The first thing is a memo explaining the changes from the prior years and any updates, and then attached to that is a single-page summary budget, and then beyond that is the full detailed budget. The big news up front is that there is no proposed real estate tax increase in this budget. We were able to make the budget balance without proposing a tax increase this year, so that's the first thing that everybody wants to do.
Nice one.
We worked on this with George and Judy, the finance committee, so we, reviewed this, and went over the numbers here. A lot of the numbers year to year don't change very much. A lot of them are contracts that we have, or expenses that we have, just day-to-day operating expenses that we track all through the year, so we know, whether we came in close or above or under the budget, so, I try to get as close as I can for a lot of these numbers. You'll see some round numbers in some of these when it's just an estimated amount. If you see a number that's a really specific number, like 11,792, that's usually because we have a contract for something like that, and that's the amount for the year. So, some of the highlights, the property taxes are going to come in probably slightly under this year's budget. So we dropped it down just a little bit to bring it in, closer to what we think we're gonna bring in next year. Just down by, I believe, 10,000 from last year's estimate. Again, no proposed property tax increase. Earned income tax, that is coming in regularly, and we bumped that up. The income was coming in a little stronger for the last couple of years, so we bumped up our estimate. And this year, we are just increasing it by 5,000, because we've kind of found where we think we're the break-even point for that. Local services tax, which is a tax that is charged to anyone who works in the township. So whether you live, doesn't matter where you live, if you work in the township, you're charged the $39 a year, and 1/3 of that income was pledged to the volunteer fire company a bunch of years ago, so we collect that, and then quarterly, we give 1/3 of that to the fire company as just in addition to the contract that we have with them, and that's been hanging, that's been pretty steady. The jobs in the township are in the industrial park for the most part, and it's very consistent. Interest earnings picked up in the last couple of years. They definitely boomed over what we had been doing previously, but we think they're gonna slow down from the boom times right now, so the budget is set to at the same level as last year. We're gonna come in a little over budget this year, but we think it's gonna settle down, so we're just keeping the anticipated earnings at about the same rate as last year. transfer from other funds, so when we get an audit at the end, later in the year, so we just got our 2004 audit. We take whatever the.
24.
2024 audit, and we take whatever the auditor tells us, if we came in under budget or over budget, we take that number and we plug it in as just kind of a carry forward for the general fund. So we use that in the budget as just money rolling forward. My annual speech on that is that there's never a guarantee that we will come in with, having underspent our budget, so that number is not a fixed number. It's not guaranteed to be there. We could have a year where we came in under, and that's a hole that we would have to fill. So it's just, we've been lucky, and it fluctuates a lot, but it's just never guaranteed to be there. And then the rest of the revenues, a lot of them are contracts. We have a snow removal contract from the county, we have one from PennDOT. I did plug in a number for the pilot this year. We believe that we have a negotiated number for that contribution for this coming year. Okay, let's move to expenditures.
Would you detail the pilot, what that is?
The
Yeah.
pilot is, it stands for Payment in Lieu of Taxes, and it is a contract or an agreement with a nonprofit entity, and the city of Pittsburgh has them with some of their other nonprofits, so it's not unique to Aleppo. And it is a negotiated agreement with a nonprofit where the nonprofit agrees to make a contribution to the taxing body in lieu of taxes. They're not charged taxes, but they agree to make a contribution based on what services they receive.
Thank you.
So for expenditures, we can go over some of that. We have, this thing here, there is a proposed 4% increase in salaries. There was an increase in health insurance premiums, and that's worked into here. Legal fees are budgeted to stay the same for, the same budget amount for next year. They were coming in a little under this year, but that's, we're just gonna keep things steady. Engineering fees are a little different this year as well, so we didn't increase the budget for those either. And we have $15,000 budgeted in the building category for potential replacement of the sewer line underneath the township building. We keep kind of holding off on that, but it does run directly underneath my office, so I would like to, if we have, the next backup might be the last backup we're willing to deal with. So, we're not sure if we have to jackhammer my office, but we're just trying, we had the pipe lined a couple years ago, but we want to have some money in there in case it becomes time. Fire company, we have a fairly new contract with the volunteer fire company, a couple years old, and it increases at 4% per year. We're also, next year will be the third of 5 annual contributions of $22,500 towards the purchase of a new squad vehicle. They bought a new squad a couple of years ago, and they approached both us and Swickley Heights and asked both communities that they serve to contribute towards the purchase of this vehicle, and we kind of agreed to split. So, and we are making 5 annual payments for our contribution to that. We do not have any major paving projects for next year. In the last 10 years, I talked to Ben, our engineer at HRG, and we have done almost every road in the township. We have a couple that might need a tar and chip coat, but we really have, in the last 10, 12 years, done major paving all throughout the township. So we try to do a large project and then have a couple years of saving money towards the next large project. So we're in our saving period right now.
Would you briefly discuss the planning that we do for that?
We have a 20-year road study, and then we look at it every year to readjust. So they did the long research and did this giant spreadsheet for 20 years, and then every year, if we have done anything, HRG will go and update that one chart and move roads that had been needing, at the top of the list of needing to be done, all the way to the bottom because they got done. So that's looked at every year, and it would be lovely to put in $200,000 every year just in general, and that fluctuates a little bit. So some years we're able to put in more, some years we put in a little less, but we have always been able to make a contribution, and this is a savings year. I think we have $160, in for this coming year.
But we try to make the existing balance consistent with the study.
Right. So we just, we track the account balance in the capital improvements fund all the time, just to make sure that we haven't gone too low. We have a truck fund, which is also an annual savings contribution for equipment. So we don't want to finance our public works trucks, we want to purchase them. So some years ago, we started saving for that, so that when the truck comes, a new truck needs to be purchased, there should be money in this fund to do it. Trucks are a lot more expensive these days, you know, the larger trucks are very expensive, so we save $47,000 a year towards the purchase of trucks, and $4,000 for larger equipment that goes in towards, you know, we have a backhoe, so we need to maintain the backhoe, at some point we may need to replace that, hopefully that's years down the road, or other kinds of larger equipment that isn't tools, and so that fund is there also. Both of those amounts, if you're looking to track them within our savings accounts on our financial, that money is housed within the Pliget Plus account. So I have a separate spreadsheet that's not on a bank statement that shows the Pliget Plus account, the general savings amount, and then the truck fund amount, so I just track that internally. Again, it was $160,000 for the transfer to capital improvements as the contribution to saving towards paving projects. And then everything else is, we try to keep it the same and, you know, go based on what we spent this year and try to make a number that's close for this coming year. I wanted to point out that we are in the final year of both the police services contract and the waste management contract. So this is the final year of those two contracts, so they will be negotiated in the upcoming years, new contracts. The waste management contract is negotiated through the Quaker Valley COG. A bunch of communities get together and do that contract. So that, the lead on that is Patrick Connors at the COG, and then all the communities participate. So that's traditionally worked for us, rather than trying to go it alone on a trash hauling contract. We're too big to just have like a small company do it. So I will be keeping you informed throughout the year about the status of that and what the market might be telling people to be prepared for. That is the draft of the budget. Again, there's a full memo here, since it has, you know, a few more details. It has all the numbers. This is November 10th, so we have time for everyone to look it over, and come back to me with any questions or any comments or anything like that. We have time, and to tweak a few things before the planned adoption by ordinance on December 22nd. So, those are the highlights.
Thank you very much. Any
Appreciate that.
questions now, or?
Thank you. No questions at the moment. Appreciate your work.
New business. Pretty simple, the December legislative meeting is scheduled for December 22nd as opposed to December 15th due to travel plans for the commissioners.
So we will be meeting for the December meetings, we are meeting for the workshop on December 8th. Then we are moving the scheduled December 15th to December 22nd. So there'll be nothing on the 15th, so we're meeting on the 8th and the 22nd in December. I also want to announce that we will not be having the legislative meeting next week, also due to travel plans. So we'll do what we did at a different point in the summer when we were unable to have a meeting. I pay the bills, and then you'll ratify them at the future meeting. So we'll pay our bills.
Have we received any communications from citizens?
No. I have two other small things I'd like to announce, if that's okay. I just got the spring conference. The registration is opening earlier this year. It usually opens in January, so we talk about it at the beginning of the year, but it's opening in December. And this is the one the big conference that's held at Seven Springs, the ALOM conference. And we budget for commissioners to attend one conference a year. So if anyone is interested in attending this conference, let me know. I will remind you closer to the date, because the lodgings fill up and everybody wants to stay in the tower so that we're not up on the hill and have to drive down to every event. So if you want more information about it, or if you want the dates are April 9th through 12th. This coming year, so I will remind you again closer to the date and check and see if anyone is interested in attending. I handle the registration, so if you are interested, those of you who've been here know the drill. I find out your meal plans, your travel things, and we'll get with the township. The township covers this expense. The other thing I have here is the newly elected officials course. So for anyone newly elected as a commissioner, the Local Government Academy puts on this course, and it is a bunch of Saturdays throughout the winter, basically, And it has different topics every session about different, like, ethics and budgeting and police, negotiating contracts and things like that. So everyone who's gone through it that has talked to me about it, and I know people in other communities go through it, they find at least something really valuable in this course. So any newly elected official or anyone who needs a refresher, let me know and I can get you registered for this as well. We can talk about the dates, we can talk about what they do, I can put you in touch with the people at Local Government Academy to get more information directly from them. But those are two opportunities that are coming up. So I will stay on top of it and check back in about this.
I went through that course when I became a commissioner, and I would make it mandatory, quite frankly, because I learned so much, because it's a different world, a little bit here and a little bit there, but I was impressed with the presentations.
I did it, I didn't attend the thing, but years ago, I was one of the facilitators at it, so like an instructor for one of them, and I learned a lot those days too, just contributing my part, but then listening to the other parts, I
Yeah.
learned a lot too.
Right.
Any other new business?
That's what I have.
Then we are going to enter into an executive session at 7:18 to discuss matters of potential litigation and personnel. We have exited the executive session and are coming back into the public meeting at 7:58. Is there any other new business?
None.
Then we are adjourned.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.